What's up guys, Mike here from The Art of Guitar. I promised another video yesterday. I said I was going to make one today. But I'm actually going to make a different video than I planned. I'll make the one that everybody was asking about probably tomorrow. But I just remembered something that I think can help a lot of you guys out, especially those of you who really want to learn the fretboard. And one thing I developed about 10 years ago was a thing called SmartTab. And I think I was the first one to develop it because I hadn't seen it anywhere else, but maybe it's out there, I'm not sure. But it's where you take normal tab, which is just numbers, as you know, that tell you which frets to play, and you convert the numbers to actually the pitch. So for example, instead of, just a 3 on the 6th string, you would put a G, and that would teach you what note you're actually playing versus just 3, which doesn't tell you anything except for which fret you're supposed to press down. So I'm going to show you a quick example of this today using a classic riff, and then I want you to implement this, if you want to, into your tab reading, and I'll tell you how to do that in a little bit, and see if it benefits you and helps you learn the entire fretboard, which it seemed to do for a lot of my students. So we're going to go like this. If you take a look at normal tab, we'll just put it on the screen, we have the numbers. So reading chords using tab is pretty common too. So what we're going to do is we're going to form this chord. It's an E7 chord. We're just going to play it twice like the tab tells us to. Obey the tab. So 2 times on that, right? Then what we're going to do is we're going to jump to the 4th fret on the 6th string. So there we go. Then if you're just reading tab, you would follow it. Then 2 on the next string. Then 5. Then on the D string, we're going to go 4, 2. And then back to the A string, 5th fret. So you end up with this. Alright, so tab is very effective. Don't get me wrong, I love tab. Ever since day one when I bought my first Joe Satriani book, I was reading tab. I did read notation when I did orchestra, and I brought that into my guitar playing as well. But I found out that a lot of people don't know how to read notation on guitar. But everybody seems to know how to read tab, so I thought this would be a great way to bridge the gap. It's kind of the in-between. If you don't want to go all the way and learn notation, and you already know tab, you can already implement this. Alright, let's take a look at the SmartTab version of it, and this is going to be the first example of it. So if you look now, we have the actual letter names, which is great, and the circles represent the open strings, kind of like in chord charts. So I sort of mashed a bunch of ideas together. So if you go from the fat string to the skinny string, 6 to 1, we're going to just save the pitches as we play the same chord shape we did earlier. So we have open E, then we have a B with our middle finger, then open D, G sharp with our first finger on the 3rd string, 1st fret, and then 2 open strings, B and E. Played together, there's your E7, except now you have a deeper knowledge of what notes are actually going on. See how you're not quite reading notation? You're not reading the dots on lines right now, you're reading the actual letters, which makes it more obvious, but it's a little more in depth than just the numbers of tab. Then afterwards, we jump to the 6th string, we have a G sharp. Then on the next string, we have a B. Then a D on the same string. Then on the 4th string, we have F sharp to E. And we're back to the D with a pinky on the 5th string, 5th fret. Now, if you don't know your notes already and you're just learning them, this could take you a lot longer, but the benefit outweighs the struggle. So after you struggle for a little while to figure out what these pitches are and where they are on those particular strings, that's the good thing, is it tells you what string it's on, so you have a head start. You can actually start to develop the idea of, oh, I'm actually playing a G sharp here. And it gives you a new appreciation and deeper knowledge of what you're doing versus saying 4, 2, and so on. Kind of like if you're playing with a piano player and they're like, what note was that? And you say 2, it's not going to make any sense to them. And some people ask, well, what if you are playing a G, let's say on the 6th string, say it says G, but you actually should be playing it an octave higher, because there are 2 places to play the G. What happens is on SmartTab, we're going to go ahead and just do a circle, but it's going to be a dotted circle. And for an even more in-depth look at what you're doing, you can add the rhythm to it as well. So here's a version of it with some 8th note bars added to it, so you can see the rhythm of it if you know how to read rhythm. So you'll have 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and. So 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and. So that's for people that want to go that extra step and not only know the notes they're playing, but also the rhythm that they're supposed to play. So if you think about it, real basic tab with no rhythm and no notation of any kind is very, very basic. It's effective though. That's why everyone uses it. But like I said, if you want to go to that next step, try to implement a little bit of this Smart Tab and you'll see huge benefits right away. So the tricky part is, where do you get Smart Tab? Well, it's not really out there as far as I know. I never really pushed it back when I developed it over a decade ago, and I never really just put out a bunch of songs with Smart Tab. I might in the future, I'm not sure yet. But a great thing to do is to, if you're an instructor, try to write out a few riffs for your students using Smart Tab, just to give them a little bit more of a upper, knowledge of the notes on the neck. And if you're a student and you're really trying to learn the fretboard, what's really cool is you can have very basic knowledge of the fretboard, even just up to the 5th fret. Let's say you know the notes going up to the 5th fret on all the strings. Well, just take a couple classic riffs that have tab and convert it yourself to Smart Tab. Just make sure you have somebody who knows music check it so that you're not learning it the wrong way, if you make a mistake or whatever. That could be kind of like learning this in reverse, and it's a great way to attack it from both sides. So not only are you going to write out your own Smart Tab with very basic riffs at first, if you can, even if it's something like, just something real repetitive and simple. Just come up with something that you can transpose at your level. Okay, and as a bonus, at the end of this video, I'll put 3 classic riffs up using Smart Tab so you can get a start, okay? If you don't feel like writing it out yourself, you can at least use my examples for now. All right, guys, hopefully that's fun and informative, and I hope it really helps you understand the fretboard from here on out. And we'll catch you at the next lesson, I guess, tomorrow. Okay, guys, see ya.